So first, I'd like to say hello, and thank you for the opportunity to join the Caravan of Knowledge. I would also like to thank our program delivery partners from USTEM Foundation, Asylbek, and Nurdaulet for asking me to be here with you today. I must apologize that I do not speak Russian nor Kazakh, but my hope is that by my next visit, I will have learned a little. And again, my name is Ginny Alabi, and I am the manager for International Field Operations with FIRST for Asia Pacific. My goal for our time together is sharing with you not only what FIRST is, but also an overview of our ongoing longitudinal study through Brandeis University Center for Youth and Communities. And I'm also hoping to generate your interest in getting involved. As I share with you the impact studies from our 5-year benchmark on the youth involved in our programs, I'd also like to share with you that being involved in FIRST can have a profound impact on the mentors, coaches, and volunteers in the program as well. And I know this because not only is FIRST my employer, but my own children are involved in the programs, and I mentor my 2 sons' FIRST robotics competition team. I consider it a privilege to have this connection with these amazing students, and I hope by the end of our time together that you will understand why I feel this way and potentially want to get involved as well. So, Nur, if you can go to slide 2.
Next one.
All right, yeah. So slide 2, here we go. So again, thank you, and we're going to get started. So many of you may be wondering, what is FIRST? Well, FIRST is for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. It was the brainchild of our founder, Dean Kamen. Dean Kamen is a prolific inventor, engineer, and businessman. And you may know him from some of his inventions like the Segway, the iBot, or the first wearable insulin pump. There are many, many more. And Dean wanted students in STEM to receive the same recognition that student athletes receive and to be celebrated for their innovative minds. Thus, FIRST, a nonprofit organization based in the United States in New Hampshire, was created in 1989. And since then, FIRST has become a global STEM engagement movement for use in over 115 countries and territories and growing. Nur, if you can do next slide, please. As you can see from this slide, we are helping to bridge the STEM skills gap. FIRST is a sport where every kid can go pro. So we are increasing STEM competence and confidence in young people while creating career opportunities and innovation in the fastest growing fields. FIRST is more than robots. We actually help cultivate a lifelong love of learning, and our programs are equipping students with real-world skills that include digital literacy, teamwork, leadership, creative problem solving, and time and project management. At FIRST, we're looking to build the people who will change the world by helping the students channel their raw curiosity, think critically, and seek ways to improve the world around them. Next slide, please. So we are the #1 youth-serving nonprofit advancing STEM education outcomes and development of 21st century skills. And through our programs and our equity, diversity, and inclusion initiatives, we are hoping to close the gap on the projections showing a potential lack of millions of engineers in a generation, and also the underrepresentation of women and minorities in the STEM fields. Next slide. So how are we doing this? By working with our network of program delivery partner organizations like USTEM in Kazakhstan, along with the support of our strategic partners and sponsors, we work actively to expand and sustain our global footprint to increase access for use of all backgrounds, demographics, and economic statuses. So let's take a look at these numbers. There are over 660,000 students in use in over 100 countries, and as I mentioned, it's 115 currently showing that have at least one FIRST team involved. There are 300,000 mentor, coaches, judges, and volunteer roles. And yes, some of those volunteers cover multiple roles in multiple programs, but our volunteer base is ever increasing, and many of our sponsors and strategic partners encourage their workforce to get involved and to support them when they do. There are over 20 million volunteer hours served in our community, and roughly 3,600 approved events worldwide, with 77,000 participants at our World Festival annually, and that's representation from nearly every country that's participating in our programs. And lastly, there are over $80 million in scholarships that are available to the students that are alumni of the FIRST Tech Challenge programs and the FIRST Robotics competition programs. that are provided by at least 200 providers globally. So I'll give you a moment just to kind of review those statistics if you'd like. Nur, I think you're way ahead on the slides. If you could go back, that one, yep, that's the one. Thank you so much. Okay, and we can move on to the next slide here. And while statistics are great, let's take a look at what makes FIRST different from other robotics competitions and programs. So we can start with our mission, which is to inspire youth to become science and technology leaders and innovators by engaging them in exciting mentor-guided programs that build science, engineering, and technology skills. They inspire innovation and they foster well-rounded life capabilities. Next slide, please. When we add to that the philosophies and the ethos of FIRST, which was coined by our co-founder, Dr. Woody Flowers, and our core values that'll be listed on the next slide, then you can begin to see that our goals are for the use and the future and not profit-based ideals. So let's talk about gracious professionalism here. Gracious professionalism is a part of the ethos of FIRST. It's a way of doing things that encourages high-quality work, emphasizes the value of others, and respects individuals and their communities. Cooperation is a producer of innovation. At FIRST, cooperation is displaying unqualified kindness and respect in the face of fierce competition. Cooperation is founded on the concept and the philosophy that teams can and should help and cooperate with one another as they compete. Next slide, please. And here we can see those FIRST philosophies of gracious professionalism and cooperation, and we add them and work through them with our core values. And teams are judged on core values throughout the competition the entire time that they're there, as well as the coaches and mentors. So the first one, discovery, because we explore new ideas, new skills and ideas. Innovation, we use creativity and persistence to solve problems. Impact, we apply what we learn to improve our world. Inclusion, we respect each other and embrace our differences. Teamwork, we are stronger when we work together. And finally, fun, we enjoy and celebrate what we do. All of these are vital in making our program holistic working environments. So these philosophies and values seem to stay with our students as they progress through the programs, and it appears that they also translate well into the workforce, as many of our strategic partners and sponsors are looking for hiring FIRST participants, not only for internships while they're still in school, and eventually they want them full-time employment. I'm going to share with you two stories that I recently read about FIRST alumni from our programs. And the first one was a student who found success in a STEM field. She was a 20-year-old student, a FIRST alumni, that through her robotics program in high school was about to become an apprentice with our strategic partner Bosch. Upon doing that, they're providing her with training and college credits, but she's also a paid intern. And at the age of 19, she was able to purchase her own home. She plans to continue her work with Bosch, and once the apprenticeship ends, and through their employee tuition reimbursement program, she's going to complete her college studies. The second student participant stated that while competing with her FIRST robotics team at our world championship, she had the opportunity to meet Chris Riley from Tesla and learn about their internship opportunity for their workforce development and education programs. And it turns out that Chris was stated that she had a common theme when interviewing Tesla employees, that many shared that being a part of their high school competition robotics team was what drove their desire to become engineers. So Chris from Tesla went on to say, FIRST is giving kids from around the world these incredible experiences. These are just two of the recent success stories from youth participants in our program, and the desire of our strategic partners and sponsors to have them as part of their workforce. So now that we've touched on what FIRST is, I'll share with you a little bit about our full progression of programs. So Nur, can you move to slide 9?
Okay, I guess I'm in.
Yep, that's it. Yep, perfect. Thank you. All right, so here you can see the list of showing our 3 programs. That's the first LEGO Leagues, and the first one is actually broken down further into 3 levels called Discover, Explore, and Challenge. These range in ages from 4 to 14 in the United States and 4 to 16 internationally due to the different education systems and access to our programs for the older students. Next, you'll see that there are 2 advanced programs. The First Tech Challenge, which is for middle to high school level students, ages 12 to 18. And finally, the flagship varsity program, First Robotics Competition, ages 14 to 18. As the programs advance, so do the skills that they learn and use, as well as the equipment and electronics with which they are working. So we start with small moving parts, move to small Lego WeDo, Mindstorms, or Spike Prime based robots. Then it's on to an 18 by 18 inch cube robot. And finally, they are building, programming, and driving 120-pound robots to compete on a field roughly half the size of a basketball court. So most of our programs can be delivered in school, for which we do offer some curriculum content, and they can also be provided as part of an after-school program. As for the competitions, the students usually start and participate local, and as they advance, they move to a regional or divisional, and then from there, the teams advance to a national championship, with the winners from that advancing to the World Festival events. And we've grown so much that we hold 2 World Festival events, one in Houston and the other currently in Detroit. During these events, not only do the teams compete for top awards in robot design, competition, projects, and core values, but there are also awards for students that go above and beyond for their team and their community. The mentors and volunteers are also honored with awards for their commitment to the students, and we have a Global Innovation Award. That's for teams with projects that really have the potential to create positive change, and they win a monetary award to help them research and develop their products and projects. When the teams are competing with First Tech Challenge and First Robotics Competition programs, we have some partners that have what we call open borders. And this means that they accept students from other countries into their events to compete for the top awards. This provides an international cultural exchange opportunity for the students in our programs. We at FIRST believe opening the doors for youth to collaborate on an international scale can create bonds that last a lifetime and promote peace through education. And without getting too much into the weeds here, I'll do a little walkthrough of each level of our program. And the things that the programs have in common are each year we have a new theme and a new mission that are related across all the programs. All the students, coaches, and mentors are expected to follow our core values and philosophies when they're participating and competing in the programs. So let's move to slide 10.
Okay, we are in 10.
Yep. So the intro to First LEGO Leagues is here, and the programs that we offer are our collaboration with our partners at LEGO Education. So all 3 of these that are within the First LEGO Leagues are partnered with LEGO Education. And I'll start with slide 11. This is First LEGO League Discover. This is the program for our youngest participants, and it's also our newest program. So what we learned was when young people or young children are engaged in playful STEM experiences, they ignite their natural curiosity, they grow their knowledge, and they develop habits of learning. When educators nurture these natural-born scientists, they build a bridge between real-world STEM skills, language, and literacy. So what is First LEGO League Discover? It's a playful introductory STEM program for teams of children ages 4 to 6 that ignites their natural curiosity, it builds their habits of learning, and by the end of the program, the children emerge more confident and better equipped to face the future challenges and discover the joy of learning. Next slide, please. So how does it work? It's a new and exciting challenge that is presented every year to the students. And each team of 4 children begin their exploration of this real-world theme with a LEGO Education Discovery set that includes the larger LEGO Duplo elements. The teams then share their journey, their ideas, their models, and their STEM skills at a celebration event. And throughout their experience, teams operate under the FIRST core values, celebrating discovery and teamwork, all while having fun. Further, as our newest program, after a very successful pilot season, we started strong with approximately 5,420 teams globally during the 2019-2020 season. Next slide, please. The first LEGO League Explore program is for teams up to 6 children, ages 6 to 10. They're working to solve real-world scientific challenges, and I want to emphasize that both Discover and Explore program levels do not have a competition element, but more of an expo and showcase platform to give the youth and to get them excited and talking about STEM. Next slide. So for First LEGO League Explore, it's an introduction to science and technology where students build a challenge-related model that moves using the LEGO Education We Do 2.0 technology, and they create a show me poster, and they practice presentation skills, they explore challenges facing today's scientists, they discover real-world math and science, and engage in team activities guided by the first core values. This program ended the 2019-2020 season with about 27,299 teams globally. Next slide. And I just want to make sure we're on the right one. Yep, we are. Perfect. So the next 2 slides are going to go over the First LEGO League Challenge program. And here the students are ages 9 to 16. And again, this varies a little from the US model, but they form teams of up to 10 kids, and they build LEGO-based robots and develop research projects based on real-world scientific challenges. The students create innovative solutions to challenges facing today's scientists. They strategize, design, build, and program and test an autonomous robot using challenge-related modes. They also apply real-world science and math. If we can go to the next slide here. So they apply these real-world math and science concepts, and they develop career and life skills. And through researching their project, they become involved in their local and global communities. And we finished the 2019-2020 season for First LEGO League Challenge with nearly 40,000 teams globally. Next, we're going to move on to slide 17 about First Tech Challenge. So First Tech Challenge is for ages 12 to 18. And these are where teams of 10 students on average, sometimes there's more, develop strategy and design and build sophisticated robots using a modular kit of parts. They then compete head-to-head. This comes with a reusable platform, and it's powered by Android technology and programmed using Java or Blockly. Next slide. The students develop strategic problem solving, organization, and team building skills. There are awards for their competition, their community outreach, and their design. Alumni of this program qualify for the over $80 million in scholarships that we offer. And this season, we ended with 7,762 teams globally. That's nearly 70,000 students that are involved in that program. And although FTC is not spread as far and wide as the First LEGO League programs, it is clearly gaining ground internationally. And in Asia Pacific, we currently have 9 countries and territories where our partners deliver this program, to include Kazakhstan through our partners at USTEM Foundation. Next slide, please. So now we're going to talk about First Robotics Competition. It was the first program launched in 1989. And this is where teams of 25 on average, sometimes more students, compete with a 120-pound robot in a varsity sport for the mind. Here we are combining the excitement of sports and the rigors of science and technology. Next slide. So in this particular program, there are strict rules, limited resources, and time constraints. And due to the game skills and the requirements being more advanced with a higher level of difficulty, our students are mentored by professional engineers who provide guidance and help them work through design, programming, and structural issues. Students learn and use sophisticated hardware and software while they're in this program. They build and compete with robots of their own design based on a kit of parts provided by FIRST. The teams are made up of students of all skills, as they're not just required to develop, design, build, and program their robot, but they must also do marketing, community outreach, and PR. They manage their project timelines and budget. They do fundraising and more, all while practicing gracious professionalism and cooperation. And again, all alumni of the FRC program, the First Robotics Competition program, qualify for over $80 million in scholarships. And although this program is in fewer countries, the teams may travel internationally to compete in regions or in regionals that we offer in Turkey, China, Chinese Taipei, Mexico, Canada, Australia, the US, and we are able to offer through some of our sponsors some grants to assist with the cost and the shipping for those that qualify. Next slide, please. So as we wrap up what FIRST is and what we offer, FIRST programs use strategies known to increase STEM interest among kids ages 4 to 18 or pre-K to 12. These include hands-on learning, working as a team on a relevant and real-life solution, exposure to careers and caring adult mentors, and a culminating celebration where students can showcase what they've created and learned. Next slide. Each of these strategies independently drives to STEM awareness and interest. FIRST combines them all in all of our programs to increase student awareness in STEM, this leading to increased interest and engagement, and eventually leading to intent to do something in a STEM field. After this short video, we're going to move into the information that we have on the impact through our multi-year longitudinal study conducted with Brandeis University Center for Youth and Community. So if you want to move to the video.
Бұл робот емес. Ол гидравликалық қолда трансмиссия және микросхема болуы мүмкін. Бірақ бұл робот емес. Бұл кішіпейілділік, еңбек сүйгіштік пен ынтымақтастықтың үлгісі. Бұл бұлшықет үшін кроссфит жаттығулары. Бұл Ньютонның келесі ұрпағы үшін алма. Бұл көп нәрсе, бірақ бұл робот емес. Бұл тікелей дамуға әкелетін карта. Бұл мыңдаған шыны төбелерді бұзатын тас. Ұрпақты кедейліктен шығара алатын арқан. Мәдени кедергілерді бұзатын құмаралар және жердегі әрбір ұл сөйлейтін әмбебап тіл. Сондықтан бұл бейбітшілік жол көрсетуге көмектесетін компас. Бірақ бұл тек робот деп ойламаңыз. Бұл технология үшін гластелер. Бұл айға келесі ұшу үшін басқару орталығы. Бұл ертең жеңіске көмектесетін спорт. Бұл қатерлі ісіктен емдеуге, экологиялық таза қозғалтқышты құруға немесе Марсқа баруға мүмкіндік беретін бағдарламалы жасақтама. Бірақ бұл робот емес. Бұл әлемді өзгертетін адамдар жасайтын машина.
Thank you. And we can move to slide 24 now if you'd like. There we go. So now we're going to take a look at the impact FIRST programs can have on the student participants long-term. Brandeis University Center for Youth and Communities is conducting a multi-year longitudinal study with FIRST Legally, FIRST Tech Challenge, and FIRST Robotics competitions. The study is following brand new students to FIRST and a comparison group of students who were selected from the same schools as the FIRST teams. Both the FIRST students and the comparison group are being tracked over time. We are now in our 7th year of data collection with this particular group, and the data that is being presented to you today was from our 60th month benchmark since the beginning of the program. Currently, we have about a 79% response rate since the start of the study. And when the students started on their FIRST teams, and when the comparison group of students started and were recruited, they completed baseline surveys. The parents and the FIRST coaches also completed this set of surveys. And every spring, the FIRST participants and the comparison group complete another round of surveys. And we also collect data through focus groups and phone call interviews to ask additional information and better understand these key areas and findings and differences. So as you can see here, the first students in the comparison group, oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong place, I think. Is that the right slide? No, stay on this one for a second. Sorry, thank you. The students in the comparison group in terms of gender, race, income, baseline STEM interest are controlled through the statistical analysis. And this means that we statistically match the students in the first group to the comparison group on specific measures. So example, a low interest in STEM for the first group would also equate to a low interest in STEM in the comparison group. The study is looking to answer the following questions. What are the short and long-term impacts of participating in FIRST? What are the impacts on college and early career choices for FIRST alumni? And what are the differences in subpopulations such as girls, youth of color, or other economical disadvantaged children and backgrounds? So a breakdown of the sample group at the 60-month benchmark was that there were 602 FIRST participants, which was 73% of our original baseline, 397 comparison group students, 88% of our baseline, and the sample group also included 549 students with at least 1 year at a 2 to 4 year college. So I'll give you a moment just to review that data if you'd like. Okay, if we can move on to the next slide. So out of the original 822 FIRST students, 602 are still participating in this study, a 73% retention rate. Out of the original 451 comparison group students, 397 are still participating. That's an 88% retention rate, giving us roughly a 79% overall retention of students and participants. Next slide. And as you can see here, the results are showing that FIRST students are 3 times more likely to show an interest in STEM compared to the comparison group students. And not only is the interest increased, but the participants show it also increases their activity in, their knowledge of, their career interest, and their overall identity as being related to STEM fields. Next slide. So these increases weren't specifically showing to a set group of the study participants. It seems to span across all the demographics. So when comparing females in both groups, males in both groups, economics also didn't seem to play a role in changing these increases. Next slide. And when taking those same categories of knowledge, career, interest, activities, and identity and breaking them down, females and males, we see that FIRST students consistently show greater gains than the comparison students of the same gender. And look at that increase for the likelihood of focus on a career in STEM for a female participant in FIRST. She is 96% more likely to do that than a student of the same gender from the same school that did not participate in the FIRST program. And if we can move to the next slide. Again, here we see FIRST alumni show increased interest in majors in STEM, computer science, and robotics. Next slide. And here we see that that increased interest actually turns into action as FIRST students declare majors in STEM at a greater rate than the comparison group students did. Next slide. And this slide shows the increase in declaring STEM majors broken down by gender. And the next slide. So we see here that in the first year of college, FIRST students are more likely to choose STEM coursework. And if you move to the next slide, it actually shows that even more so, they stick with it in their second year of college. Then we'll move on to the next slide. Here it shows that the interest carries over outside of school and academics and translates well into their extracurricular clubs, their internships, their jobs, and so much more. And next slide. So all of these statistics from the longitudinal study point to FIRST helping to add confidence and increase sustainable interest in STEM for students that participate. And I can tell you that I see this every day when I'm visiting partners and events, as well as with my own son's team. Students from all different backgrounds, countries, cultures, and interests are participating and working together. They're supporting one another. When you go to championships, you see the youth from all around the world taking time to go around and meet all of the other teams, to share their stories and their culture, to form friendships and create lasting bonds. And yes, they are there to compete, but they're also having fun. The students are not just engaging each other. They're excited to tell anyone and everyone that ask about their projects. There is nothing quite like watching and listening to the youngest participants so confidently and proudly tell you about their projects using words like prototype and brainstorming. And all of these things combined keep not only the students coming back again and again, but also the mentors. I'm impressed with the numbers of students that have graduated and gone on to university that are coming back as mentors. These are young adults that give up their nights and their weekends to support the FIRST programs and teams. And I've had the opportunity to meet FIRST alumni from around the world that are now in the workforce and are still giving back to the FIRST community. It makes me feel great every day to get up and work, knowing that I'm involved in an organization that is transforming lives. It's providing opportunities in STEM, and it's encouraging global outreach. It really doesn't feel like work. And Nurdaulet, is it time that we can play the second video, or is there not an opportunity for that here?
That's fine.
Oh, good. Excellent.
Before FIRST, I did not think I was capable of doing something in STEM.
The idea of any person doing anything STEM related in communities like where I live in is sometimes not the norm. You really never expected.
I'm not the best at math, but with this, it just kind of connected and flowed. It opened up a whole new world.
By being in FIRST, I realized I am smart enough to do this.
You could be an engineer no matter where you're from, your background, your language, or anything like that. FIRST has opened up my ways of thinking of more opportunities in STEM.
When I joined the team, I definitely wasn't thinking about the science or technology career in my lifetime, but I left the program being excited about STEM.
I didn't really find out about STEM careers until I went into FIRST, which has been a big part of my life.
I want to be a doctor when I grow up, being an inventor, a psychologist.
I know I definitely want to pursue a career in STEM.
My future goal is to become an electrical engineer.
An engineer. An engineer.
I want to be a computer scientist, a mechanical engineer, computer engineer.
Engineering.
Engineering. I want to be an engineer when I grow up. First Lego League definitely laid the foundation for my future aspirations.
Anyone can do this, and anyone can get this sort of education and learning experience.
Technology and science, it's fun. It's actually really fun.
It's about contributing to humans and the world itself. It's amazing. I've never really thought that I had the capability of going into a STEM program, especially being female. I just thought that those are guy jobs. But going into FIRST, I really evaluated myself, and now I just want to go to college, be an engineer, and sort of fight that stereotype.
There's a sisterhood with it.
It gave me an open mind that I could do whatever I want.
I've developed a lot of things that you learn that you wouldn't necessarily think about. You learn, people skills.
Or responsibility, commitment, collaborating.
We learn a lot about leadership and how to present yourself. No matter what job I go into, those leadership and communication skills will definitely help me.
Thank you very much, Jenny, for that wonderful presentation. First, really appreciate your contribution.